Okay, so here's the side door entrance on my trailer, and when I built up the floor, I left out a little spot at the footwell just because I didn't want that to be such a big step being up. So I left out a section like that, and then I kind of realized that while the 16-foot stuff is great, occasionally we carry some 12-foot stuff, and I wanted to be able to stop that material from sliding forward into the nose of the trailer and making it impossible to reach. So I just threw this together and put a hole in that right there, and that actually stops stuff at about 12 foot 2 inches. So if it's a little long, it can fit in there, but it won't go all the way to the front. And then I can pop that out semi easily and use it for 16-foot material if I wanted to. The other thing that this kind of footwell gave me is just some extra storage over here. So it's just tucked in there. In there, I have concrete stakes and short pieces of rebar and stuff like that. So that's super nice having that. And then on the other side, this side over here is where I have the flashing. Remember from the back, and then this side is the side that I have the 9-foot roll of the house wrap, and I just have some short pieces, short roll to tie back in for little miscellaneous stuff like that. So those little areas are kind of nice, and then like I said, then the step's not so bad. So then I come up in, and I've got drawer banks, mostly with the small drawers, and I sized them for a reason to fit with the bins I like to use for my screws and stuff, and so that's why they're sized like that. They fit in there mostly tight, which is what I wanted. I wanted them mostly tight and not way. But those are just dated into a piece of 3/4 inch, and the drawers are 1/2 inch plywood bottom, and then 3/4 inch sides, just glued and nailed together. Didn't really care about the appearance so much. I went with the straps for handles because I didn't want anything sticking out, and then I didn't the holes kind of like Ron Paulk does. Which, if you know Ron Paulk, you can tell this trailer's based a lot on what he does. I didn't like the holes that he did because in the case like this screw bin, where you have to put your hand through the hole to open the drawer, there's really nowhere for your fingers to go. But I wanted all those to fit tight in there so they wouldn't move around at all when driving. So went with the straps. They were essentially free. I mean, I've got straps laying around everywhere. So putting those in was easy, and they work great. So that's why I did that. Up here, did kind of the adjustable width storage like Ron does on his stuff, and just got all my tools in there. I originally didn't have enough scrap material to do the stop block in full length, so I just thrown the bungee cords on and then just kind of stuck with it. When I park my trailer, it's parked on site for a month at a time, so I wasn't too worried about stretching a bungee cord across there a couple times a year, or a couple times a month here and there to hold my tools in. And yeah, so the workbench top, if you recognize it, it's a Polk workbench, but it's not built in the 4x8 configuration. Obviously, it's built in the 2-foot by 16-foot configuration. That's actually how I used it most, because working with custom decks, the material was very floppy, so I needed full support, or almost full support all the way down boards of fascia and decking. So I kind of configured it that way, but then realized that the best situation for me would actually be a 3-foot by 16-foot configuration. So when I decided to build out this trailer, I decided to build in this 2 by 16-foot, and it just gives a nice countertop where I can do some work, and I can clamp things down to it, or I can set some dog dowels and butt stuff up to it and just do work on it. It's super nice. I really like having it. That's kind of that side. Over on this side, that's the upright plywood storage there. I've got a compressor on the floor. I really don't use that often. Just isn't something that gets used much. Most of the stuff's cordless now. I've got the DeWalt power bank there. That's actually what's powering this right now, since I'm not where there's power. And a few DeWalt boxes. I usually have a few more, but I've got some tools lent out and some boxes at another location right now. So, and the table saw down at the end there. And I just pull a strap across that. There's a hole right there from the hole saw, and that holds one end of the ratchet strap, and then the other end just hooks on the open end of the plywood down there, the upright plywood storage, and that works great for just throwing a quick strap across there. Above there, I did just some bin storage and stuff, all across there with a lip, and then a microwave. You always have to have a microwave in a trailer, and that's just anchored to the wall with the L bracket. The electrical in here was actually left over from a previous build out. I think I moved that one over a couple, maybe a foot or something like that. I just hadn't figured out exactly where I wanted everything to be, so I didn't really move it, but it kind of worked out because I was able to just kind of leave it where it was, and I put the power strip up there, which is nice working over the bench. If I do have a corded tool I need to plug in, I can plug it right in. The chargers are all sitting right there, and those are on anchored to a piece of plywood, and then they have a French cleat, so I can move them around, rearrange them, take them off if I want to move them and use them somewhere else. So I usually keep everything charged up in here, so I don't have to have 8 chargers out at a time. In the corner I have a refrigerator. I think that's always nice to have too, since I'm usually plugged into the customer's power the whole time I'm there. It's nice to have cold drinks and keep food cold and stuff. 5-gallon bucket over there just for trash and stuff. And then for my air hose, I just used a hose reel, and that just unrolls as I need it, and I can then hook it up to the compressor with a short piece of hose. Or if I just want to take 25 feet of hose off, I think the first one on there's a 25 footer, I can just take that off and then take the compressor and move it to wherever I'm going. So that's kind of the layout. The ceiling over here, I've got some clamps and things. Everybody does clamps on the ceiling. Lighting, I did 3 4-foot LED lights. I think they're really great. I like those. So that's kind of